Welcome to Newsmakers. In this edition, we learn about the Care Partner Network, how it began, and the multiple agencies it connects to make sure people in the community can find services that support all their needs in life. Jennifer Van Hoos is the Care Partner Network coordinator working at the United Way and was the grant writer that got the program started. She joins us along with a Care Partner Network organization representative, Robin Smith, who is Assistant Director of Community Development at Economic Security in Southwest Missouri. Thank you both for joining us. Appreciate you being here to talk about the Care Partner Network.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is a big connective organization. You have lots of members. But Jennifer, let's begin with you to see how it all started, because the Care Partner Network was partially started by a grant. So give me an idea of what motivated that.
It was. So in 2017, and not to just totally correct you, but I didn't write the grant. I coordinated the original grant. I won't take that ownership. But anyway, Freeman Health System received a grant from Missouri Foundation for Health that is to focus on frequent utilizers of the emergency department that had multiple chronic conditions, but also had social determinant of healthcare needs. So those things that happen outside the four walls of a doctor's office, but have a significant impact to our overall health and well-being. Mm-hmm. So, housing, transportation, food, employment, just all those different things that play into our overall health and well-being. So we brought together organizations that represented these different social determinants of health to help support these patients and to help improve their overall, health goals and outcomes. And so we started with about 10 organizations, and it has just grown exponentially since then.
And now there's more than 60?
Yes, about 68.
Wow, that's a lot of groups working together. So help me understand then, how does it happen when you make a referral? Robin, you're one of those partners. What happens, when someone either comes to the ER, or do they come to you and you guys cross-reference each other? How does it work?
I've mostly received referrals through Mercy, Freeman, and United Way. I really haven't gotten too many other referrals outside of those three. So. But I will take the referral and accept it, and I give the person a call. Usually they have a phone number, and try to just connect with them and talk with them a little bit about what's going on with them. If it said in the referral that they needed utility assistance, 9 times out of 10 they need more than just that, and if I can connect them with some other stuff, I do that as well.
What are some of the options they would have getting help from Economic Security?
Well, utility assistance is the big one. If they're homeless, we do have housing funds, as well as our regular housing choice voucher program, which you don't have to be homeless for, but you can apply for. Head Start, weatherization, we've got all those different programs.
So talk to me about how the Care Partner is a good connection. How does it help you do your job even better by having them make referrals? Is it sometimes that people may not realize the help's available at Economic Security?
That's part of it. Some of the referrals, they've heard of utility assistance and they haven't applied for it. So I'll get an application to them. Or like I said before, sometimes there's other stuff they need when I get to talking with them, and that wouldn't necessarily have been on the original referral. I think we're able to reach more people this way than we might not otherwise reach, that will come in and make application for a program or something. Or they just can't get into the office and get the assistance that they need. So we're able to do that, and then I always include my direct phone number and stuff if they want to call and have any questions about things like that. So
Jennifer, how does it happen that, say, Mercy or Freeman, they have someone in the ER? Do they ask certain questions? How do they know to call?
So I know that Freeman is using a social needs screener. So there's questions that are asked, of patients so that they can identify those needs and then know where to send a referral to. Mercy also has questions. I don't know if they're using a specific screener, but they do the same thing. And then when I get a call at the United Way office, and I try to ask some probing questions, because like you said, 9 times out of 10, there's more than just utility assistance needed. It's I need food, and I need housing, and I need, I need all these different things. And for example, I had somebody call the other day, and I was able to send 4 different referrals, just based on the conversation that we had. He called for one thing, and there was more needed.
So that one person may have 4 agencies now helping.
Yes.
Him or her.
Yes.
That's excellent. So does it also help to have the network in, say, case you are out of utility assistance that year? Are there other organizations that you can say, okay, we're out, but there's somebody else that might be able to help?
Yes. Yeah, it's great with the platform that we're using. It's called uniteus.com, and it's a web-based platform, and we have brought together multiple agencies using it, and so agencies can turn on and off the services that they have available. So if they're out of funding for utility assistance, they can turn that off, and I'll know that I need to seek another organization to send that referral to.
That's great, because it means you're not calling and calling and calling and calling. Sometimes that can be defeating for someone,
Yes.
especially if they're just told, "Oh yeah, go try economic security," and then you're out of funds.
Right.
This way, you're a central hub for
Exactly.
folks to get that kind of help. 65 organizations. Give us an idea of just the variety of organizations that are part.
So we actually have organizations not just in the Joplin area. We are covering 11 different counties, 5 counties in southwest Missouri, 3 counties in southeast Kansas, 2 counties in northeast Oklahoma, and 1 county in northwest Arkansas. So we are a 4-state coalition working to send and receive referrals with each other. So lots of organizations in the Joplin, metro area, but beyond that as well. So.
Which is great. You're affecting so many more people. Do you know the impact? Are you seeing results since it started in 2017?
We are. I have my little cheat sheet, but we have. So we started. So in 2017 is when the Coordinated Care Partnership started with that grant, and we have since evolved to using the Unitus platform as our infrastructure. Now we're a Care Partner Network because we are using a network. Yeah. And so we went live on the platform last fall, so September 2021. And since then, we have served 169 clients, 145 managed cases with a 66% resolution rate.
Wow, that's really great.
A lot of referrals, close to 300 referrals have gone on the platform as well.
That's amazing. I mean, does it feel good to know that we're catching those people who might have maybe fallen through the cracks?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, all these agencies, we work together to try and help as many folks as we can, and then being able to get referrals like that, I think is, because it's kind of like almost an outside the network sort of thing. People, they know where to seek out services sometimes, and then other times it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't know about that. So we're reaching those folks. I think that's great.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for all you do. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we talk with other organizations when we come back that are part of the Care Partner Network, beginning with Cross Lines Ministries of Carthage and Joplin. As we go to break, we have some contact information for the Care Partner Network and Economic Security Corporation. Crossline Ministries in Joplin and Carthage are part of the Care Partner Network. It's an organization that helps those in need with food pantry items, clothing, and other assistance. Joining us with more are Tony Smith, Executive Director of Carthage Crosslines Ministries, and Tammy Nashira, the Social Service Care Coordinator at Crosslines Ministries in Joplin. Ladies, thank you both for joining us today to talk about this.
Thank you for having us.
Tony, I want to start with you with just a brief overview of Crosslines Ministries' mission to help people and how it works, because it started out as a lot of churches coming together.
It did. So Carthage Crosslines has been providing services for 39 years, and it also started in a small dry cleaners, and we moved into our building in 1986, and it's pretty much been the same since then, growing obviously, where we provide clothing and hygiene items, diapers, essential things for day-to-day living, as well as the food. And for us, it is by appointment only, and we service all of eastern Jasper County, income-based, and those income guidelines are set forth by the USDA.
So, Tammy, does yours operate a little bit differently because yours is appointment only? I know I've been at the Joplin Crosslines. There's some walk-in kind of situations.
So ours is, we set appointments for the USDA Commodity Day, which are first, second, third, and fourth Wednesdays, and the first Monday of the month. So those, we have appointment times, so just to kind of spread everybody out and to kind of make sure that there's an even disbursement of food. But otherwise, it's walk-in based, so we have at least 2 caseworkers that greet our clientele, and I kind of sub in there. Our director, Carrie, subs in as well. But so yeah, basically with the 2 caseworkers, we can help address anybody's need that comes in.
So what is it like to be part of the Care Partner Network? Why do you want to be part of this? How does it help you? Do you get a lot of referrals?
So for myself, I'll give a couple of exact examples. There was a young lady, she was being released from Freeman Hospital. She had just had a baby. And through their services there, they deemed that this young lady could definitely benefit from receiving food and or perhaps diapers and formula. And so I received the referral directly into my email, and I reached out to the young lady and was able to sign her up over the phone and get her an appointment to come in. Another gentleman, he was an elderly gentleman, same sort of thing. He was in Freeman Hospital, and when he was released, they realized that he was food poor, and the same thing. I got another referral and was able to reach directly out to him and get him services in a very timely manner.
And this stops it so the folks don't have to hunt you down. They
That's
don't have
exactly
to try and
right.
find where are these resources if I don't know about them.
Yes.
It's already the connection. Tammy, give us an idea of what, how the network has worked with you all.
So yeah, we receive quite a few referrals just on a weekly basis, and I think just the method of contacting the client back and having a discussion and kind of seeing where they are, because it's frankly not always the best day of their life when you're interacting with them, and I think that kind of empathetic conversation will go a long ways in itself, just to kind of connect with them, but then also directing them to our services, clothing, food, household items. Right now we have a Christmas toy shop and some other different things that we provide, but also helping to direct them to other services as well. So usually it's not just everything ends with Crosslines, Crosslines can help with a lot of it, but then helping them direct in different ways as well.
Yeah. So you often refer them elsewhere in the network?
Yes, and sometimes not every entity, say Freeman Hospital, doesn't know exactly where our line begins and ends, and so, we can reach straight out to Joplin Crosslines, or whether it's in Lamar or whatever it is, to greater help their need in a very timely manner. Again, like she said, when they're reaching out for services, it's usually not a very good time in their life, and to be able to for us to handle that for them instead of them trying to call that one and call that one. We ourselves who may be better situated to do something like that, it's still sometimes aggravating to try to hunt down a resource.
Yeah. So knowing that there are other organizations and agencies that do that should make it a little bit easier, right?
It is. We even have meetings, and there's monthly things to educate us so that we can become more familiar with the other agencies, what they do, reaching out to them, and makes it a more peer-to-peer specialty where we're really much more educated on what each of us do.
Yeah, that's great. We know charities rely on volunteers. I know that's true of Crosslines and help. What are some of the things you need that could make this even better and help support those people who are referred to you? What are some of the things you get for donations?
So right now I know that there's a large need for blankets. So that seems to be a need, just staffing the last few weeks in particular. Blankets, toys for our Christmas shop, anything related to pet food. So we get a lot of requests for dog food, cat food, laundry detergent, so anything like that will be very helpful. But I know blankets and any cold weather items, coats, blankets, sweaters is definitely a need right now. Yeah. We do have a wonderful group of volunteers. We use at least 100 volunteers on a regular basis, and it's a pretty well run operation with volunteers to receive donations, to help stock the food, to help distribute the food. So there's so many kind volunteers that step up. So we have
more,
at least 100. Yes.
More always needed.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
And we're so glad you're part of the Care Partner Network.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Well, an auto repair shop making Care Partner Network part of its mission is coming up, and how the network connects the Ministerial Alliance with those in need. As we go to break, we will have contact information for the Crosslines in Joplin and Carthage. The Care Partner Network has more than 60 member organizations, including the Higher Power Garage. Now that might sound odd for a social service, but we learn more about it from Chrissy Fuller, client manager of Higher Power Garage, and we are also joined by Dan King with the Joplin Area Ministerial Alliance. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So the Care Partner Network's a really, really neat thing, but I want to start with you, Chrissy, because we often think about why would auto mechanics have anything to do with folks in need of social services? But transportation is a big deal, isn't it?
Transportation is a huge deal, and we've noticed that that is the beginning process to help a lot of people become self-sufficient. If you don't have reliable transportation, how do you get to work? How do you maintain a home? Those kind of things. So transportation is a huge it's a huge issue here in town. With reliable transportation.
So tell us how Higher Power Garage got started and whose idea was this?
So Mike Gideon is our founder for Higher Power Garage, and Tabitha Morlock also founded it. And so he owned Gideon's for about 28 years, which is the garage in front of us. And he's seen the need for people struggling financially to be able to pay for their repairs.
Yeah.
So he felt like there was a calling for him to do something more. And out of that came Higher Power Garage. And now we have done over 500 repairs in the past 2 years. And we are working on number 31, 32, and 33 of our low-cost vehicle programs. So this Wednesday we will actually be giving out 3 vehicles to single mothers.
That's really exciting.
Super exciting.
Because it's a life-changing difference. So,
It is.
So theirs is mission-driven. Dan, you're part of the Ministerial Alliance.
Yes.
Tell us, how that kind of is good to be part of the Care Partner Network. What role the churches often have with the network?
Well, we saw during the recovery how valuable the churches were in the inputs, not only locally, but also nationwide. People came with a spiritual banner, as it were, and helped us out. And the reason that was so effective, I think, in Joplin was because of the Ministerial Alliance and other organizations as well that do ministerial work had worked together in collaboration, and we trusted each other.
Right.
And we worked together very, very solidly. So we began that process, and in that process we decided to be the Ministerial Alliance, a nonprofit 501c3 organization, merely so we could be accountable for the funds that we spent that were donated, and there was quite a bit of donation that came in.
After the tornado, yes.
After the tornado. And subsequently it's been nice because we can be involved in outreaches like the Collaboration Network. So we are a group of people that meet together in fellowship, but we also use that fellowship to help others. I'm the point person for the JAMA, we call it, because Joplin Area Ministerial Alliance is so hard to remember and takes up a lot of room on the checks and all that, so JAMA works. And I'm the point person, and before the collaboration, before the Care Network became in, I would get, even 11, 12 years after the tornado, I was getting 4 or 5 calls a week for help. And basically we have to refer because we're not a high-moneyed organization. We have funds, but not unlimited. So this Care Partner Network fills a huge gap in the when I get a contact, and it comes from many, many people. It comes from church people, it comes from non-church people, it comes from sometimes people that are needing help as they pass through Joplin and have a breakdown of some kind. So
It can be a little bit of anything.
a little bit of anything, and a lot of everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and charities don't always have big budgets to advertise what they do.
Exactly.
So this kind of helps. I mean, you've wanted to get your word out. Is it helpful to have that network saying, hey, we know what they do? Because the people out there might not realize some of these things even exist.
I would get a call before the network, and I would have to guess as to who might be able to help them.
Yeah.
And there were several online resources even then, but they weren't nearly as effective or extensive as the Care Partner Network. So it's a real godsend, if I could use that phrase, to be able to have people that you've met them, you trust them, you can rely on them. If we make a referral, then they're accountable, so we don't have to worry about it. If they can't fulfill it, we know it, and we can follow up on that.
It makes good stewards of the
Yes,
donations
exactly.
you receive.
I would get a call in the past, and I would refer, and I wouldn't hear anything, and I would wonder, did that person get helped?
Yeah.
But
And now
I
you
just
know.
don't have time to follow up on everything that
Right.
I've received. But since a network, I might add, if it's worth anything, my calls a week are probably down to less than one.
So it's made a big difference.
It's made a huge difference.
Well, we thank you for telling us how it does make a difference. Thank you for all you do and helping folks with transportation, a need that we sometimes forget can make a life impacting difference. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
you.
Well, still ahead, we conclude our discussion with the role of legal aid in the Care Partner Network and also talk to the Executive Director of the United Way. As we go to break, we have contact information for Higher Power Garage and the Joplin Area Ministerial Alliance. Welcome back to Newsmakers. A lack of resources can lead to missed payments and even eviction, but it's important that those in need know their legal rights and have help. Joining us to wrap up our conversation about the Care Partner Network are Jeffiner Thompson, an attorney with Legal Aid of Western Missouri, and Dwayne Dreiling, the Executive Director of United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So I think a lot of people think about care services and the last thing they're probably thinking of is going to legal aid, but there can be lots of legal problems that may lead to someone needing these services, correct?
Legal aid is an integral part of keeping people from being homeless. And so one of the big factors in being homeless is a lack of income. If someone's facing an issue with their benefits, whether that be a public benefit such as Social Security disability or supplemental security income, that's something that we can help with if they are missing those payments or they have not received approval or they're being terminated from the program for some reason. Those are things that legal aid can help with, as well as state benefits. Things like Medicaid. You know, people spending all of their money on medical services leaves them little money to pay their rent or their other expenses.
We've often heard that story. I've had to pay for all my medications. I have no money for rent.
Correct. And so sometimes we can resolve that issue by getting them the Medicaid that they should have. So any type of public benefit. We also find that people are sometimes put out of the home or facing the inability to remain in the home because of a legal hurdle. Maybe they're facing a problem with their rental voucher and they need to have some legal services to help them appeal a termination or get the paperwork figured out. Something's going on with that.
Right.
Maybe they are facing an actual eviction, and once that eviction is filed, it's urgent that they call us because having that eviction on their record may prevent them from being eligible for a housing voucher or even cause them issues in getting into another rental.
For the future.
Exactly. So there are a lot of reasons that they may want to contact legal aid, and some of those being just to keep the income and the housing possibilities open.
And for most of us, anything that has to deal with legal is very difficult and confusing, and it's paperwork, and
Yes.
it can be very troublesome for folks to understand.
Yes.
So
Yes, it's very intimidating, and so we often find that people are hesitant to call us because there's just something intimidating about getting an attorney.
Right.
But know that we are a very focused on the individual help agency, and if you call us, it is completely confidential, and our focus is resolving your problem. So we are not here to make a big statement. We're there to solve the individual problem.
excellent. So Dwayne, the United Way is sort of home base for this Care Partner Network,
Yes.
and it's been the umbrella organization of many organizations over the years. Why is the network such a help in getting folks connected to the right people?
So when we first started working on this, I got really excited because, you know, every week we take 20 plus phone calls of people looking for help, and you know, and I always say that when people are just one medical bill or one high vehicle repair bill away from being thrust into crisis. And so a lot of people don't think that they'll ever find themselves in this situation. All of a sudden they're like, I don't know where to turn to. And just because United Way has been in the community, they'll reach out. And what excites me about the Care Partner Network and the work that we're doing with the referrals is, you know, in before we had this, it was like, okay, here are the 3, 4, 5 phone numbers that you need to call.
Right.
And we never knew at United Way, did we get them where they needed to go?
Yes.
And so now through the Care Partner Network and the Unite Us platform, we can go back in and say, yes, we got these people to the place that they needed to be for that service. So it feels so good to actually be able
Right.
to make sure that we're getting people the resources that they're looking for.
Yeah. And is timeliness a factor? I mean, we often know people if I only knew they existed and
Yep.
this wouldn't have happened.
And again, by the time what we've seen over the years, and I've been with this United Way 9 years and another United Way for 9 years before that, by the time they finally reach out to us, they're at a point that's like, I need to get this resolved, or I'm now in a situation, homelessness, and so that timeliness, and that's another thing that's so great about the Care Partner Network is that quick turnaround. We may not be able to solve it that day, but at least we're going to get you in the network and in the platform so that we can start to address those issues. And one of the things, and Jennifer and I talk about this at the office all the time, is what's really cool about the work that we're doing at United Way through this and some other grant funding and some other things that we're working on is a lot of times when people call the United Way office for one thing, there's probably other things.
You're solving multiple problems.
Yeah, and Jennifer just the other day had one person that she actually made 4 different referrals to 4 different agencies. They may be presenting for utility assistance, but then when you start to visit with them about other things going on in the household,
And you have all the connections right there.
Did you know that we could connect you with this agency? And again, the nice thing about it is we don't like duplication.
Right.
So once that referral is made, it may be made to multiple agencies, but once one accepts that referral, it drops out for all the others
excellent.
so that you don't have that duplication. Trying to be as efficient, and that's what United Way does, is we try to promote the most efficient way to provide services with the limited dollars that we do have.
Well, you're all doing great work. Thank you for sharing all the aspects of it, especially legal aid as well. It's another factor for all these folks in need. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Well, many of the organizations involved in the Care Partner Network operate on donations and with the help of volunteers. If you take part in end-of-year giving, any of the organizations involved would appreciate your support. And that wraps up this edition of Newsmakers. I'm Lisa Oligas.